Hi, explorers! Ready to learn? Let's go! Welcome to WiloVerse!
You know, we spend a massive chunk of our lives swiping, clicking, and talking to our devices. But have you ever really stopped to think about what's going on behind the scenes? There's this invisible science that decides whether using an app is a complete joy or an absolute nightmare. Well, today we're going to pull back that curtain on what's called human-computer interaction. No, really, think about it. You've got that one app on your phone, right? The one you can just fly through without a second thought. And then there's the other one, the one that makes you want to chuck your phone at a wall. So what's the deal? Is it just dumb luck that one is good and one is bad, or is there something way more deliberate at play? Well, let me tell you, that feeling of frustration, it is not your fault. It's a design failure, plain and simple. So let's actually break down what that looks and feels like. Okay, so on one side, you've got the chaos of frustrating tech. We've all been there. Menus that make zero sense, functions you can't find for the life of you, and buttons that do the exact opposite of what you expect. But on the other side, that's the goal, an experience so smooth it feels like nothing at all. Intuitive tech gives you clear feedback, uses patterns you already recognize, and it even helps you avoid making mistakes in the first place. And the real magic is, when it's done right, you don't even notice the design. It just works. And that, right there, is the whole point. This difference isn't an accident. It's not magic. It is the result of a careful, deliberate, and, well, scientific process. So what exactly is this science? Well, it has a name. Human-computer interaction, or just HCI for short. Let's get into what it's all about. At its heart, HCI is this incredible mix of computer science, psychology, and design, and the goal is actually pretty simple, to make technology work for people, not the other way around. It's all about making us more effective, cutting down on our mistakes, and ultimately just getting the technology out of the way so we can do what we need to do. And this idea has been around for a while. Just look at this timeline. It tells the whole story. We started back in the 50s, literally punching holes in cards to tell a computer what to do. Then came the 70s with these cryptic command lines you had to memorize. The huge leap forward was in the 80s, which gave us the graphical user interface, the Windows, icons, and mouse we still use today. And now, we're in this wild new era of touch, voice, and even augmented reality. The pattern is crystal clear. The entire history of computing is about making the machine bend more and more to the human. So, if you're going to build technology that actually works for us, you have to understand us first. And that means we need to take a little trip into the weird, wonderful world of human psychology. Okay, this right here is a massive concept in HCI. A mental model is basically the story you tell yourself in your head about how something works. Think about the desktop on your computer. You've got files and folders, and you can drag things to a trash can. It all makes sense because it copies a real-world desk. But when a system does something that doesn't match your mental model, that's when you get confused, you click the wrong thing, and you get really, really frustrated. Now, this might just look like a random math problem, but it's actually one of the most famous limitations of our brains. It's called Miller's Law, and it says the average person can only hold about 7 things in their working memory at one time. Give or take 2. This is why phone numbers are broken up into chunks, and it's why most website menus you see have somewhere between 5 and 9 items. Good designers know our brains simply weren't built to juggle more than that at once. And this just perfectly illustrates the result of that memory limit. Bad design forces you to recall things, like trying to remember a specific command you have to type perfectly. But good design, it relies on recognition. It just lets you see all your options in a menu and pick the one you want. It is so much easier on our brains. Okay, so we get the psychology, but how do we actually put it all into practice? Well, great design doesn't just happen. It's the result of a really disciplined, user-focused process. This is pretty much the blueprint. It's called user-centered design, and the name says it all. I mean, look at this cycle here. It starts by understanding the user, and it constantly loops back to getting their feedback. The user isn't just some target you aim for at the end. They are a partner in every single step of the process. You design something, you test it with real people, you see what works and what doesn't, and you do it all over again. And a huge part of that cycle is something called prototyping. You don't just build the final product all at once. Nope. You start with what are called low-fidelity prototypes. Sometimes they're literally just sketches on paper to test the big ideas and the overall flow. Then, once that's feeling right, you move on to high-fidelity prototypes that look and feel just like the real thing to iron out all the smaller details. The whole idea is to fail fast and fail cheap. Professionals also lean on a set of established principles, or heuristics. You can think of these as a kind of checklist for good design. For instance, visibility of system status just means the app should always tell you what it's doing, like showing you a progress bar when something is loading. User control and freedom means you always have an easy escape hatch, like a big obvious undo button if you mess up. They're not strict rules, but they are fantastic guides. And this quote just nails it. It really gets to the core of the whole thing. When human-computer interaction is done well, you don't even see it. The technology just melts away and lets you do your thing. It's only when the design is bad that it becomes loud, frustrating, and totally impossible to ignore. So, where is all this headed? Well, the principles of HCI are actually more important today than they've ever been, especially as we start moving beyond just staring at screens. We are entering this new era of what's called multimodal interfaces. We're not just typing and clicking anymore. We're talking to our voice assistants. We're using our eyes to control things. We're interacting with virtual objects in AR and VR. So the big challenge for HCI designers is to make all of these new ways of interacting just as invisible and intuitive as the best apps we have on our phones right now. And that brings us to maybe the biggest question on the horizon. See, for decades, HCI has been about designing tools that we command. But what happens when the computer isn't just a tool anymore, but a partner? As AI becomes more of a collaborator in our work and lives, how do we design that relationship? How do we build trust? How do we make sure we're still in control? The core principle of putting the human first will never change, but figuring out how to apply it to this brand new reality, well, that's the great design challenge of our time.
Thanks for exploring with us. See you next time. Keep learning and keep smiling. Bye!